Welcome back, thank you for joining me, and today we're gonna replace the links from IPDUSA.com, front and rear kit from IPD, heavy duty, on sale, $100. I decided to give it a shot and install aftermarket IPD kit. You can also install the stabilizer bar from IPD, which is stiffer. It's thicker in diameter, makes the car stiffer when cornering, but it's 300 US and it's too much. And also I don't need my XC70 to be stiff and take corners faster or something else. So today we're going to be doing only the front and rear links from IPD. So this video is not sponsored. I purchased those parts myself, so it's not an advertisement from IPD, just my experience. So here they are, arrived at my place, made in Taiwan. Seems to be good quality. We'll see how they will handle the Canadian salty winters, and we'll see how they rust or not going forward. Let's begin by raising the rear of the Volvo. I'm using a jack with a wooden block on the rear subframe. You have to raise both of the wheels at the same time to relieve pressure, so you can undo the stabilizer links. And that ant is on the background, was just running around, interesting. Make sure to support the rear with some jacks for safety. Make sure you don't work underneath without safety jacks. That's what I'm gonna do next. And before we continue, I wanted to just let you know that the modules from Yevgeny are available for purchase. If you own P3 Volvo V70 or XC70, you can install the Taillights module, which will activate the top vertical lights. It looks beautiful at nighttime. It's not available from factory, so after installing the module, you will have the taillights light up like that. V70 and XC70 P3 models. Also the tailgate module, which will allow you to close the tailgate remotely from your remote or the button on the inside of the car. Very convenient. This feature is not available from factory. Both of these modules are available. And the tailgate module available for XC60, V70 and XC70. So make sure to email your VIN to the email provided, and all the information will be in the description below. Don't miss it, order it now. And we'll continue. As I've said, 2 jack stands for safety purposes, just in case. So here's the rear link. Nothing wrong with them, they are not clunking, but I thought to myself, I feel like it's time to replace before we hear some problems and clunking or knocking noise. So as usual, just a wire brush to clean the threads on the nuts and bolts here, just as much as you can, clean it off. 13mm socket and my Milwaukee impact gun makes the job much easier. As a counter hold, 5mm hex goes in the middle with a ratchet, and a 15mm wrench to undo the bottom side of the link. This job is pretty easy, so anyone can do it. Let's take a closer look at the condition and we'll compare to the IPD. They're definitely old and rusty, and by looking closer to them, just look what I found. The rubber boot is cracked and the grease is leaking out. So good timing. I didn't wait for them to completely fail on me. So make sure to check yours. The suspension is definitely rusty. It's already 14 winters in Canada. We have lots of salt, so that's the current condition. Nothing you can do. Most important is that the body is rust free, which is the most important. The bottom nut is the same 15 millimeter on the IPD link. The top bushing, the top 13 millimeter nut, we're gonna torque them when the car will be on the ground. I found out later, because when you try to torque it now, what happens is that the rubber bushings they don't compress correctly, so they're crooked, as you can see right now. So I decided I'm gonna do it once the car is on the ground. Let's continue on the other side, and 55 Newton meters the bottom nut. I did wrong here by removing the bottom nut. First you wanna do the top, otherwise it's gonna be more difficult. Again, when you're not doing this job frequently enough, you don't know what's easier. So now I'm having trouble to undo the top nut. So I had to reconnect the link at the bottom and use pliers to counter hold. Also looking at the suspension, I found out that the spring has rusted in a couple of spots. So I've ordered all the parts. There will be another video coming soon once I receive all the parts I want to replace. Same ordeal over here, torn boot, the grease is out and it's probably gonna start knocking in no time. So very glad to replace those links ahead of time. Looking at the rear brakes, I've done a separate video. I'll post a link right now on the screen. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you watch it as well. Lowering the Volvo down on the ground, I'm just carefully looking at the links, how they behave, and looks like I was right. You wanna torque the top 13 millimeter nuts with the vehicle on the ground. Now the suspension has settled and now we can torque it properly. It's 15 Newton meters, but the torque wrench doesn't fit in there very well, so I just hand tightened the bushings. Make sure not to overdo it, just compress them enough. So as you can see now it's nice and aligned, so we can properly tighten the nut. Rear job is complete. I gave it a little shake and looks awesome. Before we begin doing the front links, I wanted to share with you my little recipe here. Ice cold coffee. So you gotta have 2 teaspoons of instant favorite coffee, sugar to taste, for me it's just 1 teaspoon, boil some water, for now, milk frother to make some foam. Long press will activate the cold function and not the hot. Boiling water to dissolve the instant coffee with sugar, just a bit, because remember we're making an iced coffee here. And just shake it or stir it until the sugar with the instant coffee dissolves. I decided to make this drink for me because I've been working on the rear links and it's been pretty hot outside. Plenty of ice. We want to make sure it's ice cold. Cold milk. It's going to be really rich and cold iced coffee. Stir it up, and then on top for garnish, for looks, you want to add the cold foamy milk, and to finish it off with a straw. We buy plastic straws. I just hate how they give you paper ones that dissolve in your mouth. This is my house, the living room here. A nice fireplace that can be used in the winter time to heat up the house as well. Dining area, kitchen. It's a 1975 house which we moved in 2 years ago. The jack is ready to begin the job on the front links. My iced coffee is ready, so I'm gonna enjoy it before continuing doing the work on the Volvo. So hopefully you're gonna try this recipe. This is what we used to do in Israel when we lived there for 15 years. It's a really common drink to make on a hot summer day. So let's continue working on the Volvo. Make sure to support with jack stands again for safety. So here's the front link, nothing wrong, doesn't clunk, just replacing it ahead of time. 106,000 kilometers on the car, 2009. I feel like it's time. Clean the threads a bit, some WD-40 to make it easier. And we've got a 15mm socket here with the same 5mm hex as a counterhold. Let's undo the top and the bottom nuts. Looks like there is some pressure on the link going on here, so we'll need to use jack to lift up the suspension just a bit higher up. So I'm gonna lean the car on the subframe on the jack stand, and I'm gonna use the jack to lift the front suspension upwards a bit. I wish I had another jack to help me out here, but I don't. And there you go. Now we can easily disconnect the link. a quick comparison. The IPD one is definitely thicker. I don't know how it's gonna affect the ride. The bushings are in decent shape. Let's take a closer look. But they're definitely more loose. They're like completely moving freely all around, so definitely not very long left on those original links from the factory. So again, glad that I'm replacing it ahead of time. The IPD will use 15mm socket on the nut, and as a counter hold the best fits 5/8 wrench or 16mm. Installation in reverse, very easy. And interesting that Vida calls for 55 Newton meters for the top nut and 70 Newton meters for the bottom nut. Weird that it's different torque specs for the link. I also noticed the control arm bushing has cracking. Tell me in the comments below if it's an urgent matter to replace the control arms, or this will last another year or two before I need to replace. So a new link is in. Now we're gonna copy paste on the other side, and we'll just speed up the process here using the power of editing. And again, just trying out the ball joints here on the link. Definitely loose, not to a point where they're knocking, but very soon, I think another year and it's gonna be bad. So check yours. The rubbers are still fine. So after installing and taking the car for a ride, I felt zero difference in ride quality, but definitely 100% peace of mind that those links will not go bad. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it to help the channel. Don't forget the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. I've ordered some parts for the rear suspension, so keep an eye on the channel. Subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you for watching and bye bye.